Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another story. I hope you are having a calm and peaceful day. Today, we will travel back more than 2,000 years in history. We will meet a young king who believed he could conquer the entire world. Many people thought his dream was impossible. But before the age of 30, he controlled one of the largest empires in human history. His name was Alexander the Great. If you enjoy learning English through stories like this, please subscribe to the channel. Listening to simple stories is one of the best ways to improve your English listening and vocabulary. Now, let us begin our journey into the life of one of history's most fascinating leaders. Alexander was born in the year 356 BC in a kingdom called Macedon. Macedon was located in the northern part of Greece. It was not the most powerful kingdom at that time, but it was growing stronger every year. Alexander's father was King Philip II. King Philip was a brilliant military leader. He built a strong army and slowly expanded his kingdom. Alexander's mother was Queen Olympias. She was a very strong and mysterious woman. She believed that Alexander was destined for greatness. From a young age, Alexander showed signs that he was different. He was curious. He asked many questions. He wanted to understand the world. But Alexander was not only curious, he was also very brave. One famous story from his childhood shows this very clearly. 0330, the horse story. When Alexander was about 10 years old, a trader brought a wild horse to the palace. The horse was large, strong, and very expensive. But there was one big problem. No one could ride the horse. Every soldier who tried was thrown to the ground. King Philip became angry and told the trader to take the horse away. But young Alexander stepped forward. He said something surprising. He told his father that the soldiers were failing because they did not understand the horse. Alexander noticed that the horse was afraid of its own shadow. So he slowly turned the horse toward the sun so it could not see the shadow anymore. Then he gently climbed onto the horse. And suddenly, the wild horse became calm. Alexander rode it across the field. Everyone watching was amazed. King Philip looked at his son and said something famous. "My son, you must find a kingdom large enough for your ambitions." This horse later became Alexander's favorite companion. Its name was Bucephalus. Alexander was not only trained as a warrior, his father also wanted him to become a wise leader. So King Philip invited one of the greatest philosophers in history to teach him. That teacher was Aristotle. Aristotle taught Alexander many subjects. He studied science, he studied philosophy, he studied politics and literature. Alexander loved learning. He especially loved stories about heroes and great warriors. One of his favorite books was the story of Achilles from the Trojan War. Achilles was a powerful warrior who fought for glory. Alexander admired him deeply. In many ways, Alexander wanted to become a hero like Achilles. Becoming king, when Alexander was 20 years old, something dramatic happened. His father, King Philip II, was suddenly assassinated. The kingdom was shocked. Now Alexander was the new king of Macedon. But becoming king was not easy. Many people believed he was too young to rule. Some cities in Greece even tried to rebel against him. They thought Alexander would be weak. But they were wrong. Alexander acted quickly and decisively. He marched his army south into Greece. Within a short time, he defeated the rebellions. The Greek cities realized that Alexander was not just a young king, he was a powerful leader. After securing Greece, Alexander turned his attention east. For many years, the Persian Empire had been the greatest power in the region. The Persian Empire was huge. It controlled lands from Egypt to India. Alexander believed that he could defeat them. Many people thought this idea was crazy. Macedon was much smaller than Persia, but Alexander believed something very important. He believed that courage and strategy could defeat even the largest empire. So, in the year 334 BC, Alexander crossed into Asia with his army. This was the beginning of one of the greatest military campaigns in history. Alexander and his army fought many battles against the Persians. One of the most famous battles happened near a place called Issus. There, Alexander faced the Persian king himself. His name was Darius III. Darius had a massive army, but Alexander was fearless. He led his soldiers directly toward the Persian king. The battle was intense, but eventually Darius fled the battlefield. This was a huge victory for Alexander. After that battle, many cities began to surrender to him. They realized that Alexander was unstoppable. By 1730, Egypt and a new city. As Alexander continued his campaign, he traveled to Egypt. The Egyptians welcomed him as a hero. They were happy to be free from Persian control. While in Egypt, Alexander decided to build a new city. He named it Alexandria. This city would later become one of the most important centers of learning in the ancient world. Libraries, scientists, and philosophers would gather there. Even today, the name Alexandria reminds us of Alexander's influence. 1830. The end of the journey. Alexander continued conquering new lands for many years. His empire grew larger and larger, but constant war and travel were exhausting. In the year 323 BC, when Alexander was only 32 years old, he suddenly became very sick. After several days of illness, he died in the city of Babylon. His death shocked the world. He had conquered an enormous empire, but he had no clear successor. Soon, his generals began fighting each other for control of the empire. Alexander lived a short life, but his impact on history was enormous. He connected different cultures. He spread ideas, languages, and knowledge across many lands. More than 2,000 years later, people still study his life. And today, by listening to stories like this, you are doing something very powerful. You are improving your English. Stories help us learn new words, understand history, and see the world in new ways. Just like Alexander loved learning from great teachers, we are also learning step by step. Every new word you understand is a small victory. Thank you for listening to this story. If you enjoyed learning English through this story, please like the video and subscribe for more historical stories. Until next time, keep learning, keep listening, and enjoy the journey of language and knowledge.